Hey guys, it's Kim Dao here. Welcome back to my vlog channel. Today's video is going to be something a little bit different. You guys all know that I am a huge camera geek, but today we are going to be doing something really exciting. We are going to be reviewing the newly released Sony ZV-1. Just before I start, I just want to say a big thank you to Sony for letting me be part of this and being one of the first people in the world to get their hands on this amazing little camera. This is going to be the very first time I'm doing a camera review, so I really hope that this will be helpful for you guys. Like all my other videos, this is an unbiased review. I was gifted this camera from Sony to review for you guys, but let me tell you, I am very picky when it comes to cameras. So this camera is catered towards vloggers, which is going to be perfect for my review today. And I'm actually going to be comparing this camera quite a lot to the Sony RX100 Mark VI. I've had this one for about 2 years now. I started vlogging regularly back maybe 4 years ago, and back then I used the Canon G7X Mark II. Literally like every single YouTuber had this camera. The problem I had with that camera and the reason why I decided not to use it anymore was over time the screen kept on getting loose and would fall off. So it got to the point where I had to carry around a small screwdriver with me everywhere I went, because towards the end of the day the screen would be falling off and I would have to screw it back together. I did not want to deal with that anymore, so that is why I got the Sony RX100 Mark VI back 2 years ago. And ever since then, I've pretty much only been using Sony cameras. Reason being is because I find that the footage that the Sony camera comes out with, it's a bit more washed out, which makes it easier for me to color grade later. And I find that it gives me a little bit more control. Of course, when that happens, the camera is a little bit harder to use, which is why Sony came out with the ZV-1, because it's catered towards vloggers to make your life easier. So in today's video, I'm going to go into detail on what I look for in a vlogging camera and just go through like the pros and cons of this camera. Size is really important when it comes to vlogging cameras for me. For example, if I'm alone, I'm not going to carry around an A7 with a big lens to vlog on. If I have someone there to help me film, amazing, I will probably bring that camera with me. But if I'm alone, I just want something small and simple that I can fit into my bag and pull out whenever I need to. Now that's why I use the Sony RX100 a fair bit. This is a bit beaten up, but comparing these two cameras, they're pretty much exactly the same size, though the ZV-1 is a lot lighter. Now just looking at these cameras side to side, the ZV-1 has a much nicer grip. When I vlogged with the RX100, I would be so scared that I would drop this camera because there's no grip. Now I just want to compare the exterior of both of the cameras. So this is the ZV-1, this is RX100. Now I'm kind of disappointed that on the ZV-1 they got rid of this wheel, because I use that quite a bit, especially if I am changing between photo and video modes. If you can see, there is a big record button on the top, which is great because the record button on the RX100, can you even see it? It's like here, it's so small, and I always found it hard to press. So this does make things a lot easier for vloggers. At the top, another thing that is different is that the ZV-1 has a hot shoe. So you are able to put a flash or a Sony microphone on it, which is amazing. On the sides, they are pretty much the same, but the ZV-1 has a microphone jack. So that is amazing. If you guys want to attach an external microphone onto your camera, you can do it with the ZV-1, which is super important, I think. And this is the back of the camera, pretty much identical to all Sony cameras actually. Now next we are going to be talking about the flip screens. For me, if I have a vlogging camera, it must have a flip screen. I can see if I'm actually in frame, I can tell if I'm in focus. Now the Sony RX100 does have a flip screen, but it flips up instead. The Sony ZV-1 flips to the side. If I have a microphone attached to a camera and the screen flips up, half of the camera screen is covered by the microphone, so you can't even tell if you're in focus or not. A couple of times I have filmed with the screen being covered by the microphone, and I didn't know that there was like a lipstick stain on my tooth, so I had to refilm everything all over again. So the plus side of having the screen flip to the side is that the microphone is not in the way. Now the cool thing about this camera as well is that you can actually flip the screen and close it to protect it, But then once you open it up again, it actually turns on by itself. And you can just flip the screen over. So for a vlogger, this is very convenient. Now looking at the lens, this has a 24-70 f1.8 to 2.8 lens. This is actually one of my favorite lenses to shoot photography with. It's very versatile for wider shots, but you can also take some really good portraits with it too. With the 1.8 aperture at 24 millimeters, that means that a lot of light can be let into the shot, so you've also got some beautiful bokeh in the background as well. So my first impressions when I turned this camera on and just looked at myself in the viewfinder, my first reaction was, damn, my skin looks good. So I decided to check the settings to see what that was all about. I realized there is a soft skin effect and it's set on mid automatically. Now I don't know, I have mixed feelings about this. As a beauty vlogger, yes, skin is very important. And let's just face it, we all want better looking skin. So yeah, I liked it, but then when I had it on and filmed myself with it, I felt like it wasn't exactly consistent, and main reason being is because if I moved suddenly away from the screen and came back, it took quite a while for the camera to adjust, so my skin looked bad for like a couple of seconds and then suddenly it looked great again. So, you know, that's something that I want to avoid, so I usually keep it on low, or I would turn it off in general. There are a few functions that are very useful for vloggers. First one is the product showcase set. You can actually turn this on by pressing the C2 button, which is this one right here. So that's turned on. For beauty vloggers and people that showcase products very often, this just makes things so much easier, because for me, I do a lot of skincare, makeup videos, and I do this sort of stuff a lot. One of my pet peeves is just cameras taking too long to focus. This is just so fast. See how fast that focus is? That is amazing. Speaking of autofocus, regardless of your shooting mode, there is real-time eye tracking in stills and videos. Now, something cool I want to show you guys as well is that there is actually a background focus and defocus option, which is this button right here, C1. We're gonna press C1, and this is on background defocus. So the background becomes more blurry to get more bokeh. Can you see the difference? That's clear. Defocus, clear. I tested this outside and it worked great on me as well. Now, another cool thing about this camera is, okay, it's geared towards vloggers, and we all know Instagram story, Instagram video has become more popular lately. Now, of course, you can record vertically with any camera. You just turn your camera around like this, but with the Sony ZV-1, it actually detects when you turn your camera around like this. So all of your videos shot vertically will play vertically when you transfer it straight into your smartphone. So that does save a lot of time if you are using the videos for social media. I usually don't shoot videos on my smartphone because number one, the quality isn't as good as a camera. Low light situations, smartphones just don't work for me. Next, there's something else I want to show you guys that I thought was really cool. There is an inbuilt ND filter, and you can just turn it on and off very easily in the functions. Now, I do use ND filters sometimes when I film, especially if I'm filming outside my window. You want to film outside a window and you want yourself to, you know, be in focus and be in good lighting. But if you're in front of a bright window, most likely what will happen is that, yeah, you will be well lit, but behind you, outside your window, it's just going to be white and you won't be able to see anything. If you want to see the nice blue sky, buildings, or whatever's outside your window, if you turn your ND filter on, you can see that. Something else I love about this camera is the stabilization. So this is it. You can turn it on and off pretty easily in the function setting. But as you can see, when it's on, it zooms in quite a bit. When it's off, it zooms out like that. Now I've got some example footage of the stabilization being on and off, and as you can see there is a huge difference. So this is just me using the camera handheld with no tripod. I don't have the most stable hands when I vlog outside, so stabilization is something very important to me. Now I just want to talk about the comparisons with these two cameras. So the Sony RX100 Mark VI, I got this 2 years ago in 2018, shortly after it was released. It served me pretty well. I traveled with it and yeah, I loved it. The problem I had with the RX100 was that you turn it on, you have to wait a few seconds for everything to load up, and then you press record, and then it takes a few seconds, and then after, when you finish recording, you press stop, and then it takes a couple seconds to save the footage, which kind of annoyed me because sometimes, I mean, I have butterfingers, I would accidentally press stop and then I would want to record something else, but I have to wait for it to save. If you are a vlogger and you are out and about, you know that sometimes when you want a shot, you have to shoot it then and there. Otherwise, if you wait a few seconds, you might miss it. I found with this camera, that didn't happen, so that is a huge relief. Now, something else I forgot to mention is that this camera has a pop-up flash. This camera doesn't. Now, as a YouTuber, how many times have I used this pop-up flash? Never. The fact that the ZV-1 does not have a pop-up flash doesn't bother me at all, because if you are vlogging and making videos, most likely you'll be out and about using natural light, or if you're at home, you'll be using studio lights anyway. I find that if you are vlogging with these two cameras side by side, you can just tell that the footage on the ZV-1 is 100 times better. Now, the battery life. I find that for most of my point and shoot cameras, I do unfortunately have to carry around a second battery. It doesn't last as long as I want it to. For a point and shoot camera, the battery life is just pretty standard, I think. To be fair, you can't really expect the battery life of like a larger camera because this is so compact. So if I had to pick between these two cameras, which one would I go for? This one, ZV-1, 100% wins over the RX100. I realized as soon as I got the ZV-1, I just completely stopped using the RX100. For a point and shoot camera, is it the best vlogging camera out there? I would have to say yes, actually. Out of all the point and shoot cameras I have used in the past, this one by far is the best. Does this replace the DSLR cameras or the mirrorless cameras I have? Unfortunately not, for quite a few reasons. Battery, you can't change the lens. I feel like it's easier to control settings on a bigger camera. The Sony ZV-1 has a recommended retail price of 1,529 Australian dollars. For a point and shoot camera, it is on the higher end. Though, to be honest, I got the RX100 Mark VI 2 years ago and I paid around 1,600 or 1,700 for it, and I find this camera so much better. Anyways, I went out yesterday and I took the camera with me for a test run. I also filmed some cooking segments, so I will include that as well so you guys can see what actually comes out of this camera. So yeah, other than that, that is it for this video, I think. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video was helpful for everyone. And once again, huge thank you to Sony for letting me be part of this. And now let's just go onto the vlog and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys! Hey guys, so I'm filming with the Sony ZV-1 now with natural lighting. I'm filming with an aperture of 2, shutter speed is 1/100 and ISO at 125. I also have the soft skin filter on low. So on low, as you can see, my skin still looks really nice and very soft. I find on medium it's a bit too much and very obvious you've got it on, so I tend to keep on low. Anyway, we're gonna go outside to film, but unfortunately it's a very windy and cloudy day today, so I don't think I can film much of me talking to the camera because it's just going to be wind. And I was hoping to test out the ND filter as well, but unfortunately there's no sun out right now. But for now, let's just go out and test out the stabilization and see how this camera works on the outdoors. We're just walking to Darling Harbour. The wind is crazy today, oh my gosh. We are back home from that crazy walk. It was so windy. So I am going to cook dinner and continue to vlog on a Sony ZV-1 so you guys can see what the quality is like. I have attached a microphone to this camera just so you can pick up some of the sounds whilst I'm cooking. So let's start. I am going to be making some noodles with pork and vegetables today.